It is finally here. A championship comes down to only one race, and the stakes cannot be any higher as the road to the title comes down to the very last stretch of dirt. It's here live from the virtual dirt track at Charlotte, where we welcome you to the 6th and final race of the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Deisgns and our championship coverage live on the KBueno Racing Network. So happy to have you join us for our final race here at this WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Deisgns, where we finally get to decide which driver will be hosting the trophy, and finally we can settle the score this time around at the dirt track at Charlotte. Of course, this is going to be probably the most tenuous battle that we have in a while, mostly because of the point scenario and the drivers involved in it. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but just before we get into the details of our championship picture, let's take a look overhead as to where we are in the virtual world via our images provided by Google Earth and our KBueno Racing Network track map. This track, the dirt track at Charlotte, is only 0.4 of a mile, 0.400 miles, 0.402 kilometers, located in Concord, North Carolina. And one thing to note about the dirt track at Charlotte is that it is literally across the street from the asphalt Charlotte Motor Speedway, a track that we've hosted many races in the WORC series before, most notably, or at least most recently, the asphalt oval scene with the WORC Dynamo Deisgns Grand National Series. That race happened over there. That was in the playoffs, but we're at the dirt track this time around, and the more intimate dirt side of things with this track, and ultimately it's going to provide for probably the best view and the best setting, picturesque, when it comes down to letting this championship go all the way to the very end. And speaking, of course, about our championship, let's take a look at where things are decided after our last race last week at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway on the dirt configuration. This is the gap, 31 points for first. Josh Patterson holding a 385-point total lead. Grayson Collins, 31 points behind him. These are the two mathematically eligible for this championship this evening. Of course, 31 points does sound like a lot, and frankly, it is a good amount. But with the race happening here tonight, Patterson and Collins will go to the very end, probably to the last lap, to see who becomes a champion. Ethan Harrison is third, back 45 points, and then it goes all the way down. Jay Mulder, Cameron McConey, your top 5 in points. Ryan Martin, Henry Clappert, Aiden Kirker, Ryan Zabot, and 10th place, Matthew McDonald, 174 points. Basically, everybody third on back. They seem to be locked in for the most part. I think we may have a fight for third in the standings between Ethan Harrison and Jay Mulder when tonight is over, but that main topic of conversation is, of course, the championship. Josh Patterson and Grayson Collins, how they will settle, and the rules will state if Josh Patterson finishes 7th in tonight's race or better, he will hoist the trophy. Grayson Collins, though, going to need a lot of work to do this time with his back against the very wall. Bristol last week opened up a lot of things in the championship, and of course opened things up on the route for our race winners. We had Jamie Massey take the first 2 in the season, both at Volusia and Kokomo Speedway, but now that we've got the season settled through in the second half, it definitely lit up with brand new winners. Aiden Kirker winning at Port Royal, Grayson Collins in the conversation for the championship fight. He won at I-55, and then it was Josh Patterson, who had a podium at I-55, get the win at Bristol after arriving in from the B main. So a lot to talk about when it comes down to this championship, who directly is involved, and how the field is going to settle. But to start off our night of dirt action from the dirt track at Charlotte, we'll get into our first of what is maybe 2 heats, I believe. Here tonight we have a total of 12 drivers in this session, so not a full 18-car grid. We're not going to be sending anyone home. We're just going to be deciding who starts where, and that may be important. Track position is going to be a big talking point. We had that over at Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55. That was a big talking point of where you started, and of course whether you can carve your way through the field. It wasn't necessarily the easiest task, so we'll see if that becomes the same part here tonight. We're ready to roll off for our first of, I believe, multiple heats, or 2 heats here tonight. 8 laps for each of them, and we'll start with Keith Hackney, the 096, and that bright yellow and black Chevy Camaro dirt street stock. He'll be on the pole. He'll be the first to launch us off with the green flag in heat number 1, and he will have championship points leader Josh Patterson to his outside in that first row. Cameron McCone in the 028, he's inside of row number 2. In P3, he'll have Ryan Martin to his outside. Grayson Collins and Michael Moniz, the 5 and the 30, are the last 2 to round out your row number 3. 6 drivers, and we may have just 5 in that second heat, and then we'll decide everything in that main 75 lap feature. Interestingly enough, we've got 2 of the championship titans in this heat collectively. One starting at the front, one starting at the rear. So it's going to be interesting to see how Brayson Collins plays this again. Back against the wall, 31 points going into tonight's race, below Josh Patterson in that 0-2, so he's got a lot of work to do, and he needs to make sure that Patterson does not have a solid night. Even if Patterson does have a solid night, it's going to be a championship for him, and that's obviously all you could ask for. Collins going to try to do as much as he can, and if that involves getting a little bit crazy in heat number 1, then that may be what he needs to do. We'll see exactly how it all fares out. With the pace truck will make its entrance into pit road. We'll take half a lap around this virtual dirt track at Charlotte, and Keith Hackney will be the first to see the green, and he'll be the one stomping on the accelerator pedal before everybody else to set us off for turn 1. Hackney, Patterson, your row number 1 as they come out of turn 4. Barney the flagman with the green in tow, and we are racing in heat number 1. And already a mistake out of your pole sitter in heat 1. They're 3 wide for the race lead going into turn 3. That's the 028 Cameron McComb, make it almost 4 wide with Brayson Collins down there. But Josh Patterson weaving the high side, and he'll lead lap number 1 in the first heat. We saw Hackney just get a little bit too close. There are some tires down there near the grass, and you can run the very bottom here at the dirt track at Charlotte. You just have to be very careful you don't hit those tires. And it looks like Hackney just flirted a little bit too close there with disaster. Now trying to build up the run. This will be good enough for an inside potential pass into the corner. He'll try and slide in front of the 0-2. Not enough space to make the pass complete, so they'll be even for the lead. Collins has fallen back and may be at the risk of falling to P6. Indeed, he does. Michael Moniz makes that pass complete for P5. They're still even for your current heat race lead on board with Ryan Martin riding in P4. We talk about consistency over the run, and especially as the track changes, that's been a huge part of this WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Designs as you continue to watch the battle for the lead coming to 4 laps to go in the heat. Hackney still not able to clear the 0-2 quite yet back into turn 1, but obviously the track is going to change. We've seen multiple grooves develop before at some of the tracks throughout the season, and especially last week, Bristol Motor Speedway, a track that you probably wouldn't expect to have multiple lanes, being one of the more unique dirt tracks, and the fact that it is naturally an asphalt oval turned into a dirt track. Here at the dirt track in Charlotte, you may have some multiple grooves. This track is very fresh right now in heat number 1. Heat 2 will see some of that wear, and that 75 lap feature though is where we're really going to see these drivers get tested and whether they can push the cushion and what lines they can run comfortably without getting too slick, as Keith Hackney in the 096 almost got into Patterson there, and he almost tapped him again. Going back to turn 1, it is still going at it for the lead. Cameron McComb back in 3rd. Brayson Collins has yet to move from that P6 spot after falling behind Michael Moniz in the 30. And officially here in a 3 and 4, coming to the white flag, Hackney with the lead, and here comes Patterson with a crossover. Crossover back to turn 1. Cameron McComb will try and wait in the ranks and see exactly what happens. He's going to go for a send in 1 and 2, and another crossover happens out of Keith Hackney. Inside move, slide job, turn 3. Patterson will try and get it back out of turn 4. It'll be a drag race to the finish, but to heat number 1, give it to Josh Patterson in the 0-2, who will start at the very front of our 75 lap feature. A great clean race there between our top 2 leaders, and it was almost hoping as if Cameron McComb could get into the battle there, and already, just as quickly as we end heat number 1, is just as quickly as we will kick off heat number 2. And the name you have to watch for is the man starting at the very front of this second heat for 8 laps. 2-time winner this season, Jamie Massey in the 896. First time we see him in a while, especially here on the KBueno Racing Network, covering this WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Designs, but he won our first 2, swept first 2 races. He hasn't won since, and Jamie Massey not in the conversation for the championship, so that gives him only more of an incentive to go out for the win and try and wax the field and put on a clinic like he did those first 2 times at Volusia and at Kokomo. He'll have Ethan Harrison to his outside in row number 1, Quentin Haley in the 13. He'll be inside row number 2. It'll be Jake Daniels in the 009 in 4th. Rounding out your top 5 is Matthew McDonald in the 96 and the 06 of Laith Hicks. We'll round out the 6-car field for this 8-lap heat. Of course, they'll wait one more time around behind the iRacing official pace truck, and I think we do not have Oh no, now we do have Jake Daniels. I guess the field was just lagging a little bit. Laith Hicks was in the background, couldn't really see him, but we do officially have all 6 of the drivers. We had that problem a couple of weeks ago at I-55 where some of the guys who were scheduled to run the heats were not able to join the session, and they just kind of got caught out of it, and they were unable to make the 75-lap feature. Fortunately, basically every single driver, all 12 of them that are in here, they are eligible to race, all of them showing up for the heats, fortunately enough. Sun has set here from Concord, North Carolina, and the track has worn just a little bit off in that first heat. We'll see if we have another scintillating battle for the heat win to be outside of row number 1. It'll be Jamie Massey and Ethan Harrison, the 896 to 77 to the green flag in heat 2. Better slide in turn 1 and 2 for your current race leader, pole sitter. Looks like Quentin Haley trying to mount a charge in the inside. Now here comes Ethan Harrison and making a stack 3. Almost there in a 3 and 4. And he'll make contact with Massey coming out of turn 4. Haley will work to the inside. And that'll bring in Matthew McDonald in the 96 already, making some good moves. Here's Haley with a big send. And he'll go sideways. 896 of Massey will hold on to the lead for now in a turn 3. Harrison trying to fend down low. Looks like Haley falls back 3 wide for P6, or rather P4 on the racetrack. Jake Daniels on the top side of that. Laith Hicks in the very middle. And now it's Harrison trying to fend against your current heat leader, the 896 of Jamie Massey. Not as big of a lead as Massey would most likely like. In the first 3 laps of the heat, Ethan Harrison trying to put the pressure on, and so far keeping himself there. Massey yet to keep him at bay. As they come into 3 and 4, or rather 1 and 2 this time by, going into 3 and 4, the back straightaway. Ethan Harrison will still be second, all single file throughout the field. Looks like they were going side by side for P5. Haley was able to stop the bleeding just a little bit. Was able to stay ahead of Laith Hicks, but for the moment, whole field single file into the final 4 laps of Heat 2. And you look at the entire field here, especially first and second, they're running the very middle. That time by Jamie Massey wanted to go very low on the racetrack. We saw him do that at Kokomo. That really panned out to a success story for him. And the rest of the field, Ethan Harrison riding a little higher on the racetrack, so experimenting with some of the lines as the track has started to wear out and as it's starting to slicken off. And I think here with this very wide surface, and this track not necessarily one of the oldest on this WORC Dirt Street Stock calendar, is the fact that you're going to have those multiple grooves blend in here by the time we get to our 75-lap feature. And even when we're deep in that race, 2 laps to go in heat number 2, can Ethan Harrison do something extra to get to the 896? So far, the answer is no. They built up a solid gap over to Matthew McDonald in the 96, who falls back in P3, and they are still all single file, a 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th in heat number 2. White flag in the air for the second heat. And Jamie Massey looking to run away with it. Harrison building a run out of turn 2 with the distance maybe too large to cover in the final 2 corners. Last send by Harrison. He'll nab the tire on the bottom side, and it'll be Jamie Massey's race to win. Here in heat number 2, Harrison crashes along the start-finish line, but no changes in the running order. Jamie Massey, your winner in the second heat tonight from the dirt track at Charlotte. So our first 2 heats concluded. And of course, with the fact that we do not have an 18-car or more field here tonight from Charlotte, that does mean that we are just going to go straight into the warm-up session. We'll take this down to 0, and then we will go green for our 75-lap feature here from Concord, North Carolina. Again, 31 points is the gap between your top 2 championship leaders. Again, they were both in heat number 1. Josh Patterson with that great battle against Keith Hackney. He's going to be starting at the very front. For Collins, though, I think there's going to be a large concern because we did talk about track position, and it may matter here more often than not. You don't really see a lot of guys, at least in those first heats, from what I can tell, really making up positions in droves. We saw that some of the other tracks earlier on in the season, but tonight it doesn't seem to be the case. So Collins needs a lot of work to do, especially given the fact that he did not finish well in that first heat. That is really going to matter. And I figured they were probably going to be split into the heat 1 and heat 2, but I guess it did not happen. And Collins are going to suffer the short end of the stick here, being the very last driver in that second heat. And Josh Patterson looking to run away with it. You're watching most of the drivers put in some of their warm-up laps. This is also going to help in slicking off the track a little more, so we may see that high side officially come in. Didn't see many drivers use the very top here at the dirt track at Charlotte in those first 2 heats, so probably with flirting up the outside like you see Ethan Harrison do a little bit there as he smacks into the outside wall. Maybe that could help get some more grip on that very top lane, and we may see some guys flirt with that top side a lot more, and that may help us. Keith Hackney goes around, and Jamie Massey, your current leader in the warm-up session. Of course, this does not matter. This is just getting some rep laps in, and nobody knows how the race is going to fare. And as we go into tonight's race, Josh Patterson, of course, he came fresh off of a championship earlier this year in 2022. If you're watching here on the KBueno Racing Network, the WORC Dynamo Designs National Series with the Xfinity cars on asphalt ovals, and even a one dirt track race that Josh Patterson did go to victory lane at Volusia Speedway Park. Patterson was the champion of that in a crazy finish at Homestead Miami Speedway. It came down to the final 2 circuits around that track in southern Florida. So Patterson looking to go 2 in a row. I guess if we're calling WORC championships on the KBueno Racing Network, it will be Josh Patterson if he can get it done. Remember, he needs to finish 7th or better in tonight's race in order to secure himself this championship in the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Designs. So field continuing to get their warm-up laps in. We'll take down to the final 20 seconds of our warm-up session. And then we will go straight for 75 laps. It'll be a total of 30 miles, and we'll just go over 30 kilometers. This track in kilometers, not necessarily a large discrepancy versus its mileage. It's 0.400 miles, 0.402 kilometers, so the calculation's a little bit different. It's still roughly 30 miles, 30 kilometers, and 75 laps at a track this short definitely does tick off very quickly. We've seen that happen before. Cautions obviously might go into factor as you watch some of the drivers crash in the warm-up sessions, but considering the fact that we do have a rather small field, only 12 cars, that may mean a lack of cautions and a plethora of green flag racing, which means it's going to come down to the driver and how they handle the dynamic of the track as it changes over the entirety of the race. It's time to get you to your starting grid officially for our 75 lap feature. See exactly where every driver and your favorite driver will be starting in the 6th and final race of the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Designs. Up front, of course, your 2 heat winners. Josh Patterson winning heat number 1. He'll be the first to see the green. He's joined alongside by heat 2 winner Jamie Massey. And then comes the drivers who finished second in the respective heat. It'll be 3rd place inside row 2 for the 096 of Keith Hackney. We saw a lot of pace out of him in heat number 1. A lot of pace out of Ethan Harrison, too. He's going to be outside of row number 2. And it'll be Cameron McCone riding out the top 5. He'll be joined alongside by Matthew McDonald. It'll be Ryan Martin in 7th, Jake Daniels in 8th, Michael Moniz in 9th, Quentin Haley in 10th, Brayson Collins in 2nd to last, P11, and Laith Hicks in the 06, the final driver out of this 12-car field. So the lights are on here from the dirt track at Charlotte. We are ready to decide a champion. And it's all in the hands of this man right here, Josh Patterson in the 02. Who has been one of the most consistent drivers all season long. He's had some fights put up against him, but he's always kept his composure and always looked for the best finish possible and got that win at Bristol Motor Speedway, cemented that 31-point gap, and here he is looking for a first WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour championship. As the pace truck will make its way into the pit lane in the middle of the racetrack back straight away. They'll visit the safety clean little buildings there on the right side, enter 3 and 4, and it'll be Barney the Flagman waiting to send the field off and the Roaring Horsepower engines into turn number 1. Your 2 heat winners, Josh Patterson, Jamie Massey, come out of turn 4, and they'll visit the flag stand where Patterson brings us to the green flag. We're underway in the final race of the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Designs. Already some scuffles out of turn 1 and 2. There were 3 wide for a moment around your top 5, top 10 before the moment. Side by side for the lead. 4 wide back there in the middle where Brayson Collins is at. Give lap number 1 to Jamie Massey, working the high side to the race lead. Gotta also think how powerful that outside lane is. It helped Josh Patterson get the win in heat number 1, and you have to be afraid of a potential freight train here. He's gonna have to clear himself soon as Keith Hackney now works to the outside. He may have something to say for your race leader in the 896. Bring in Ethan Harrison, a 4-horse fight, maybe even 5 if you can count Matthew McDonald hanging back there in the 96. He's side by side currently with Jake Daniels in the 009. That is for the entrance into the top 5. And finally, Patterson able to clear, and a nice shove there from Harrison as things get very close nose to tail. Harrison almost about made contact with the 02 going into 3 and 4, but Jamie Massey clear for the race lead, and the whole field going up high. Look at the arc there that the 896 takes. Hackney a little slower there to the gun as you ride on board with the 096. Keith Hackney, a lot of speed, of course, in that first heat. Had some pace in the warm-ups as well, even though it wasn't that long. It was only about 2.5 minutes, roughly. And Hackney already moving his way, looking to the very inside. We talked about the track conditions and how things will wear, how multiple lanes will be favorable than others. Looks like that outside lane is really starting to dial in as the 096 will take a swap here. Instead of the outside here, or the inside, he'll go to the outside this time through. And the whole field mostly single file. Looking back at Brayson Collins, he has moved up to 9th. But the 5 car not necessarily with blazing speed at the moment. As you ride on board here, some contact there up in the front of the field. That looks to be Jake Daniels in the 009. Might have been contact with the 96 and Matthew McDonald. Remember, they were fighting for 5th. That 5th spot now occupied by the 13 of Quentin Haley, who had a struggle in his respective heat. And now Brayson Collins is stuck in the exact hornet's nest. This is one thing you want to avoid here at these dirt tracks. Right on board here with Brayson Collins entering turn 1. Trying to dial the car to the very inside, and he is basically bottom 3 wide there with the likes of Daniels and McDonald. And right now McDonald and Daniels not necessarily giving it up for your second place points driver, as they'll have contact there coming out of the corner, and they'll be okay. Collins gonna stay down low, but now watch for this. Cameron McCone in the 028, Ryan Martin in the 9 may have something to say. They are still 3 wide for P6. All while Jamie Massey is running away from Keith Hackney and company. As again, you look back to the battle for P6. Daniels working the high side. They are 4 wide all the way at the bottom of the racetrack, and Martin almost about got turned back there. That was the 30 of Michael Moniz, who tried to go down low and almost about cleared himself. As they'll make contact there, that's Matthew McDonald coming off the corner. Jake Daniels giving him a shove, and a huge send by McDonald's up into Collins. And it will not work, and again, we'll go just about 3 wide. Swaps right in front of the 30 of Moniz, and they'll settle things out for a moment. Collins moves up to P6. But of course the concern, Josh Patterson into the top 3. Watch this battle, still about 3 wide. But here's the worry for Collins. Josh Patterson, who has settled himself in a 3rd, not necessarily worried about a race win, not worried about what's going on between the 2 guys, not running for the title in Jamie Massey and Keith Hackney. Patterson being as comfortable as he can be, riding the very top. And I talked about it, how this track was going to change, the multiple lanes that were going to filter through. And it looks like finally, after the 2 heats and that warm-up session, and even 13 laps here in this main feature race, that outside is dialed in, and it is now as quick as it can be. Ethan Harrison being one to flirt up there, but he's hit the wall a couple of times, and he's fallen back, so he may recede the spot here to the 5 of Collins, and I think that will be a good vantage point for Collins. Of course, for Patterson, he does need to finish 7th or better, so technically this would still be Patterson's championship to lose. In this case, he would have the advantage, but Collins being there, I think is going to give some pressure, and it's going to force Patterson's hand at some point, and Collins, meanwhile, is going to force his nose there up top and try to make a move stick. They're going to bring a 3rd car in. Quentin Haley almost 3 wide. Coming out of turn 2, Collins will go back to the inside here on the 77. They'll both make contact drifting up the track. Quentin Haley staying down low, and Brayson Collins will clear for 4th. And all eyes there on the 0-2, but contact with Quentin Haley, who tried sending it down low a little bit too far. He's going to spin into the grass, and he will tow it back to pit lane. Caution flag would not wave out in the opening 17 laps, and that was a huge scare for Collins, who now falls out of 4th and may even fall out on 5th with Jake Daniels approaching. Make it 3 wide into the back straightaway. In that 98X, but he's listed as the 009 here in Sim. There may also bring in Ryan Martin. That's Michael Moniz in the 30. And Collins having to play a lot of defense. It looked like he was just looking on the offensive end to Patterson, who's just chilling right now in P3. Some contact is made, some bumper contact. Ethan Harrison to the inside now, the 009. Will try to take a 2 for 1, but a send goes wrong and puts Collins into the wall. Collins moves up, falls back to 8th. And it's become a nightmare for the 5 machine, as Harrison bullied his way through and obviously did not get the spot out of it because Jake Daniels stayed ahead of them for 4th. And it's a 4-car, 5-car breakaway from 4th on back in the top 3. They have set themselves in their own league. This is a look back at the top two. Jamie Massey, Keith Hackney going at it. And Hackney's still not able to make a pass here on Massey just yet for P1 into the opening 20 laps of the race. But Hackney doing his very best, and I think that line there out of turn 2 might be just good enough to make some contact. Hackney's going to stay there for the moment. On the 896, we'll keep tabs on that. Josh Patterson has just been running his own race. A little slick there that time by going into the corner, so that might have lost him some time. And then here's the whole brigade of cars. Jake Daniels again trying to play some defense here on the rest of the pack. Ethan Harrison, Ryan Martin, this is going at it for P5. And you look at how the whole field is handled so far. This dirt track at Charlotte, watching your top 3 run at the very top of the racetrack. And then you look at these guys here running the middle or the bottom. Not many of them looking to the very top and that outside wall, other than maybe Ryan Martin in this case in this set of corners. But we saw Ethan Harrison when he was all by himself in the top 4 before he got caught up in this hornet's nest. He was running the wall. He was going all the way up there like Grayson Collins is right now in the final 2 corners as Collins tries to gain some speed. Harrison was all the way up there, but now that he's got the whole field with him, he's following in their train tracks. He's staying around this middle groove as he makes some slight contact and even had a hit from the rear. That was a sandwich put in between Jake Daniels and Ryan Martin. So Martin will have a nose up high, maybe bring in the 30 of Michael Moniz. And that could be the saving grace here for Collins, but Harrison changing his line. Rather interesting fairly early on in tonight's race. Riding on board here with the white and green machine, Ethan Harrison in the 77. There's Ryan Martin, that white and black limeade media dirt street stock as they make contact coming out of the corner. So Collins may have something to look forward to here. He can get by these 2. Or maybe get by these 3 if you're counting that 30 of Michael Moniz, who was just sent to the inside. He's been holding the bottom fairly well, having some consistent speed down there. And Moniz did not have a great heat to start off and did not start this race pretty far up the field. He started back in 9th out of the 12 cars here in tonight's 75-lap feature. So nice pickup here so far. The driver of the 30, but our first caution will come out, and it'll be on behalf of the 06. Laith Hicks started 12th in tonight's feature. Looks like he's going to tow it to pit road. He's 1 lap down, and he brings out our first yellow flag from the virtual dirt track at Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll take a look and see how this all happened. It appears to be a solo incident here on behalf of the 06, so it didn't look like there was any car contact to send him around. Of course, this track has slickened up significantly in that middle lane. Watch the 06 basically all by himself on the track. No one to worry about apart from maybe 1 car up front, but it was right there. Just got a little bit too sideways and nabbed one of the tires. That was a big talking point at the start of the first heat with Keith Hackney getting a little bit too far down there. You don't want to hit those white tires because they're basically metal and they would destroy the car. With Laith Hicks going backwards basically on the racetrack, the entire field going by, that is enough to bring out our first caution so far after 28 consecutive green flag laps. So that will bring the field together. That is good news. If you're bracing Collins in the 5, he was up as high as P4 behind Josh Patterson. Of course, he will restart in the 7th position. We'll see if they go double file. I believe they will. And with the fact that we did go so long under the green flag, WORC rules state that if a caution comes out in those 5 laps after a certain restart, when the green flag waves out again, then they will only go single file. But just like I said, with the fact that we went so long under green flag racing, already approaching the halfway mark of tonight's race from the dirt track at Charlotte, we will indeed go double file back to green. Jamie Massey will have the jump. It'll be Keith Hackney's responsibility to react in enough time. And Hackney's had a lot of speed, so don't especially count out this 096, who had a lot of strength in that first heat. Running for the win. He could have started up at the first row, as he will be on that first row inside to the green flag. Massey will clear, so an easy job on the restart there for the 896. The field back again together, and it will charge for turn 1 as a lap 31. Pivotal attempted pass here to Brayson Collins. He might get forced 3 wide in the middle. That's Michael Moniz on the bottom. Ethan Harrison on the very top. There's contact with the 9 of Ryan Martin. He'll stay side by side with him. For the moment, he will try to attack on Jake Daniels, a nice send. And now here's a potential challenge for the race lead. How about Keith Hackney to the inside of Jamie Massey in a turn 3? A slide job, now a crossover. Here comes Massey back to the inside, and that's only inviting your championship points catbird seat leader. Josh Patterson back in third as Daniels tries to hold off Grayson Collins, trying to pick his way through the top three for the first time tonight. But Hackney still down there and making the slide again on the 896 out of turn 4. And now a switcheroo. Hackney on the outside. Massey down low. Massey will clear, but it'll be a run off of the corner for the 096 of Hackney. And again, they will go up to the very top. Don't want to scrap that outside wall. It'll bring Josh Patterson in for a moment in the middle of the corner. They will officially clear once again first, second, and third through the rest of the field to monitor through your top 5. Collins is still yet to pick his way through the field. Harrison right now in a free fall. And that's 77. He has dipped all the way down to 9th. That's the 096, or rather the 96 of Matthew McDonald. There are two 96s, 096 of Hackney, the 96 of McDonald. So Harrison has fallen back there. Cameron McCone on the backside of this. Michael Moniz in the 30 machine underneath Ryan Martin. And now here comes Collins looking underneath Jake Daniels to get back in the place he was earlier on in tonight's race, but the time is running out for the 5. And you got to feel for Collins here and the fact that tonight's field from the dirt track at Charlotte isn't necessarily a large field. That you mostly want that 18 or more car field to have some people go home. Of course, the danger of getting eliminated from the feature race is a scary thought at that if you're a championship contender, but the fact that we only have 12 drivers here tonight, and also the situation that Josh Patterson would have to be in to lose the championship or to be at vulnerability, 7th or worse, or rather 8th or worse, then having a 12-car field, though there's only those 5 spots in discrepancy between 7th and 12th, as Patterson makes some contact with the tires and has some damage there on the left front that immediately gets resolved somehow back to turn 1. But the fact that we have such a very short car field, only 12, it's going to be a lot harder for Patterson to be in a spot where he could potentially lose that championship. He's going to have to suffer a huge mishap, a crash, connection issues, for Collins to be in contention for the championship. But for right now, as it stands, Patterson is your champion with 35 laps to go. Collins, again, you watch him trying to work on Jake Daniels for 4th. To no avail right now. Work to the inside, and now is just going to follow that 009 in his tracks, and actually had a faulty corner there and hip checks the 9 of Ryan Martin. So things only getting worse here for Collins. He's gotten to that slick stuff. You see the shiny matter there going into the corner. Now that dirt already slicked off as much as you can get it to be. And for Collins, he is struggling at the moment with the handling of his race car. It seems like that's been the problem for him on these long runs. And we've gone green so far. Our longest green flag run in the first 28 laps before our first caution. And we may even go green for the next 32. As you watch Hackney stay behind Jamie Massey here. No official move made yet. Hackney has remained there. He just hasn't done too much to get around this 896. We've seen some great slide jobs with the crossovers between these two. And Hackney already coming in with a lot of speed. Jamie Massey, of course, in this series and overall on the iRacing platform. He's a 6,500 iRating, A-class on dirt. And then Hackney is a 7.2K on the dirt side. So these two incredibly talented when it comes down to this part of the iRacing world. And they're showing it right now just how fast they can be, as it looks like Patterson has actually struggled. He's had contact and his nose bumper's ripped off. He's fallen back to 10th. What has happened to your championship leader? No caution is going to wave out, which makes it all the more worse for Patterson. And this is the situation that Collins was looking forward to. This is how it all began. Patterson just brushes the wall, and the tire grabs loose. The bumper gets ripped off on the front end. And that may be the end of Josh Patterson's run for the championship. Just a bizarre scenario. Got trapped in the wall. And he fell back to 10th. There's that right front wobbling all over the place. That is clear suspension damage. And Patterson has parked it on pit road. He is now 2 laps down and counting. That'll move Grayson Collins to 5th, although he's in a battle with the 30 of Michael Moniz. That'll shuffle Jake Daniels to that 3rd spot on the podium. And Matthew McDonald, what a nice recovery for him. He's moved up to 4th. What an unbelievable change of events from the dirt track at Charlotte. Closing in on the final 25 laps. And if Collins can just hold on, or maybe even grab some more spots, he will be your WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Designs champion for 2022. Patterson denied a second straight WORC title as they work 3 wide for position. That's Collins down low. Michael Muniz forcing through the middle on McDonald, and he's going to actually be successful here. And it's a pass complete for 4th. But as we cross the line, lap 50 underway, 25 laps to go from Concord, North Carolina. Patterson yet to return to the track. He is 5 laps down and counting. And now here's the fight for your lead. Caution, though, comes out, and it's Ethan Harrison in trouble. We talked about the struggles that Ethan Harrison suffered after that restart on the first caution. And already the diagnosis is clear. That wobbling left front means there's some suspension damage. Had enough taps to the inside where those tire barriers are, the outside wall, and then right there just came slamming into the corner. The tire completely gets ripped off. And those are your 2 race leaders, by the way. In the 896 and the 096, both of them tallying each other for the lead. And they almost about make contact with a tire and a race car. Fortunately, they slowed down. Looks like some right front damage on the 096 of Keith Hackney. I'm not sure whether that's going to affect the speed significantly on that car. It doesn't look like it will. We get a caution into the final 23 laps of tonight's race. Get an update on Brayson Collins. He is 5th when that caution was thrown, so I think a good deal there. He was able to avoid Matthew McDonald and Ryan Martin making a send. But what a turn of circumstances as Josh Patterson makes contact with the wall. Gets some suspension damage to couple with that, and he is 8 laps down and counting on the track. It looks like Patterson will not return to action. And this is basically Brayson Collins' championship to lose, as we'll double them up for a restart here under the final 25 laps. It'll be Jamie Massey here, Keith Hackney on the inside of row number 1, Michael Muniz and Jake Daniels to P4. It'll be Brayson Collins in your top 5, Matthew McDonald in P6, Ryan Martin in 7th. It'll be Cameron McCone in 8th. And those are all the drivers left in tonight's race. A total of 4 drivers still out as of lap number 53. Green flag back in the air. It's Jamie Massey's control this time by. And no problems in a 1 and 2. Immediately going up to that outside wall. But a nice run into the back straightaway by the 016 or the 096 of Hackney. And he'll work to the outside this time through. The 30 of Michael Muniz having a huge rebound after starting deep in the field. He's now up to 3rd. Nice look on the front end of the 30 of Michael Muniz, and they are again going side by side for the race lead. Hackney underneath Massey for P1. And Massey will switch over to the outside. He'll try a crossover, a huge slide out of the 096 of Hackney. Will send him back to 2nd. And then he'll have to hit the reset button. They're 3 wide for P3. Here's Collins down low on Daniels and Muniz into the final corners. We've seen Collins utilize his inside line to his positive and to his detriment. Muniz backs out. Daniels will stay up high. They'll brush the outside wall, and Collins, it looks like he's found some grip down there while everybody else has been reluctant to stay up high. And the multiple grooves working to the 5's benefit for now. They'll enter 3 wide again in the middle of the corner. Muniz trying to force his way under the 009, and he'll stay tucked in the middle. Some contact with Collins going back into the corner, but Collins will force his nose down low again. Some great action around the top 3 as Muniz gets the push from Daniels, who had backed out in the last corner or so. And they will again go side by side, but Collins officially clears. That's going to be some good news for a moment. But he'll have the spot. P3 into turn 3 and 4. Now here comes Daniels up top. Of course, your leaders have spread themselves apart about 2 seconds roughly between themselves and Collins and company. Into the final 15 laps, Hackney still trying to put some pressure and force Massey into a mistake as of crossing lap 61. And all eyes on these two for the lead and Brayson Collins for the championship. Oh, and Daniels just gets hit there in the middle of the corner. He'll slam into Manise, who goes hard into the outside wall. And the big one happens on the back straightaway. Caution flag waves with under 15 laps to go. And it only takes one slide for someone to get into another, or everybody to just stack together. You look at the 30 of Manise trying to get back into shape, but his right front severely torn up as he went head on into the outside wall. We'll take a look and see how it all started, but frankly, you just got to look at that 009. Daniels, who was looking for a move and then just got hit. The slight tap, the 96 of Matthew McDonald. I talked about this with Keelan a couple of races back when he was in our booth in the KBueno Racing Network. These slight taps at these dirt tracks are so deadly because there's nothing you can do to save the car. And because you're on such a slick track surface, now that, most notably, it's been worn out, you just see how hard it is to control the car and how hard it is to not chase it down the track and avoid hitting another driver. Here's another look at the incident, the slight tap from McDonald, which sends Daniels down the track, who tried to save it. And a huge slam up and over goes the 30 of Michael Manise, and McDonald, Ryan Martin, both involved in that accident. And they may add more drivers to our tally of DNFs. So far, it has not. Well, Michael Manise has put it down pit road, obviously, with the suspension damage, so he will go 2 laps down and counting. McDonald is going to stay on the track. He'll fall, though, to 7th. And we will try again at a restart into the final 11 laps. Collins, I think, fortunately for him, he was not involved in that crash, so he will be 3rd on the restart. Escaped a bullet there for sure. And all he has to do is hold on in the final 10, and he will be the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour champion of 2022. Pace truck makes its way down to pit road, and it's all on Jamie Massey and Keith Hackney to bring us back to the green flag with 10 laps to go. McCone and Daniels going at it. That's Ryan Martin getting a shove from Daniels in the 009, who stays on the racetrack. Collins is officially clear for 3rd, a change of lines in a 3 and 4. But Jamie Massey, the most convincing restart we've seen yet out of the 896, the 2-time winner this season. Unfortunately, could not get back to victory lane after winning the 2nd race of the season at Kokomo. Went back-to-back after the win at Volusia to kick off the campaign. And Massey looking to get back to a place where he is called home, it feels like, in this WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour season. Hackney, again, trying to build a run. We've seen him try so many times, but to no success. And Collins, he's got to be happy seeing Martin and company battle for 4th on back, as he is officially cleared for 3rd and will try to hold on for a title. It's been a stellar performance out of Massey and Hackney, the 2 masterclass dirt oval drivers on the service, into the final 7 laps from the dirt track at Charlotte. Both of them going to the inside, and Hackney trying to mount one last charge. Another switch of lines. Hackney down low, Massey up high, and that'll bring them even. Here comes Hackney with a move down low, but Massey will be able to clear before he has a say in it. Here's side by side for, actually not position, but Patterson is back on the track. He's repaired his car, but he is still in 9th, 13 laps down. And there are only 5 laps remaining when they cross the start-finish line, so it may be settled. And Brayson Collins will walk away as a champion tonight from Charlotte. This time by 5 laps to go from the dirt track at Charlotte, and it's all in Jamie Massey's hands to hold on against Keith Hackney. This is the first time we see Hackney here on the KBueno Racing Network, and he has put on a show against the most dominant driver in the season. We've had 3 different winners in the past 3 races. Massey would break that streak if he can win tonight from Charlotte, and Hackney trying to continue it and be the 4th different winner in the past 4 races. That time by closer to the rear bumper as we approach 3 laps to go from the dirt track at Charlotte, on board with the 096. You can tell they've decided to switch lines multiple times over, but this is a great exit. Beautiful launch out of turn 2, and a change of lines will happen once more. Hackney will move up high. Massey will stay down low to play some defense All the while, Brayson Collins may have a fight with Ryan Martin for third with 3 laps to go. Into the final 0.8 of a mile from Charlotte. Collins is going to hold on for third. Patterson has moved up since to 8th. But Jamie Massey will see the white flag from the dirt track at Charlotte. Can Hackney do anything to get to the lead in the final corners? A masterclass job by both of these titans of the dirt oval scene. Final 2 corners from Charlotte. A huge send in the middle of the corner for Hackney, but it will not work. Jamie Massey gets win number 3 from the dirt track at Charlotte, and as Brayson Collins crosses the start-finish line, he clinches the 2022 WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Deisgns Championship. There's Massey, your winner. And what a job it was by the 896 to hold off Keith Hackney in the 096. As though both parked together on the straightaway. Got to give credit to both of them for putting on such a great show. And they will all line up on the start-finish line. There's Patterson. And there's Brayson Collins, who will hoist the trophy. They'll all park it what a race. Oh, looks like we've got some news. Actually, so no. Collins is not the champion here. We did have word that Josh Patterson would need to finish 7th or higher to guarantee the championship. He finishes 8th tonight, but I guess even with Collins finishing 3rd, we will retract our statement and we will give the championship now. Josh Patterson wins the 2022 WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Deisgns title. So apologies on my behalf, of course. So that'll be 2 championships in a row. 2022 for Josh Patterson, of course, winning the WORC Dynamo Deisgns National Series. Homestead of Miami Speedway. And he will burn it down. So Patterson will continue to burn it down. We'll talk to your top 3 and more here on the KBueno Racing Network as we conclude our coverage of the 6th and final race of the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Deisgns. Don't go anywhere. We've got more coming next.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the virtual dirt track at Charlotte, where we kick off our post-race coverage here on the KBueno Racing Network for the 6th and final race of the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour, presented by Dynamo Designs. And want to apologize, first of all, to everybody who initially thought at the finish, Grayson Collins, I said on the broadcast, it was the champion, but I had mid-read some of the notes in the point situation. Josh needed to finish 7th or higher if Brayson won the race, and in this case, with Jamie Massey, not Brayson, who got to victory lane. So although Collins does finish in our top 3, and we will talk to him, of course, on our post-race interview coverage, Josh Patterson is officially your 2022 champion here in the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour, presented by Dynamo Designs from Concord, North Carolina. Let's kick things off, though, with our first driver on the interview block, and it is, of course, our winner here tonight, Jamie Massey, in the 896 to victory lane for the 3rd time this season in 2022. Jamie, of course, a stellar race from start to finish. You won the heat race, and you basically dominated this one, although there were some challenges for Keith Hackney, but you return, you get your 3rd win of the season. Walk us through how does it feel to win?
I missed the first part there. I lost service or something. What'd you say?
Oh, I was saying that you had a stellar performance in the heat race, and you started up front in the 75-lap feature, and it looked like you basically dominated again, although you had some challenges here and there from the likes of Keith Hackney in the 096. Just walk us through first your emotions and your thoughts after tonight's win.
Yeah, we missed some of the races this season, so I only ran 3, and we managed to win all 3, so that's pretty nice. But I knew it was going to be tough with Hackney joining. He's my teammate, so knew it was going to be a rough race, and it was. We were nose to tail the entire race, so it's always good to win over your teammate.
And you two, of course, raced clean and hard, saw a lot of the slide jobs and the crossovers there. Very exciting there between you and the 096 of Hackney throughout this race. But give us your thoughts about this track. Charlotte, the dirt track at Charlotte, of course, changing lines here. And you both, you and Hackney, and even other drivers throughout the field, utilizing that very top once it came in and that very inside lane. How did this track change so much to the fact where you were basically just flip-flopping between lines? And which line seemed to be the most comfortable for you around the racetrack?
Yeah, the track was real racy. I ran the top first part of the race, and then Hackney got a run there on bottom, and so I went to the bottom, and we race here a lot in these street stocks, and kind of know what it was going to do. So bottom was good for it's usually good for maybe 10 laps when it is good. So we ran that about that, and then I seen like, well, might as well change it up. He's right here with me, so I went back to top. Couldn't never pull away, but we were pretty even. So I love this place. It's real racy, and I've actually raced here in real life. It's nothing like it is on the sim, but it's pretty racy in real life also.
It's really one of the first times I've talked to a driver in sim where they say, hey, I've raced here in real life and it's nothing like the track, or, I've raced here in real life and I raced here in the sim as well, and I can probably go ahead and win in both of them. But Massey, I think overall a very clean race, 75 laps. And I just want to ask here, I know you and your teammate Hackney were going at it. Were there any nerves there against your teammate, or you were just comfortable enough, you guys trust each other enough that you guys could just cleanly race side by side and just go for the win casually?
Nah, man, I told him, he said, I'm just going to get in line and we'll race it out. And I was like, dude, let's race. We had a 3-second or 5-second lead at one time. So, I mean, we both came here to race, so we wanted to put on a show, see whoever won. So it's always good. Me and him always race hard. We beat and bang, and you never know who's gonna win between us.
Well, fortunately, in this case, you got the betterment of your teammate here. You finished first. Hackney finished second. We'll talk to Keith in just a couple of moments. But Jamie, of course, on behalf of tonight's win at the dirt track at Charlotte, anybody you want to thank for tonight's performance?
Yeah, I want to thank Elite Performance Industries, Alpha Race Designs, KC Speedworks, and all my guys over at TNL, man. We put a lot of work in these street stocks. Pretty dominant as a team in the street stocks, and just glad to get another win, and all my guys behind me, man. Glad to see Hackney come here and race with me. He's been trying to get him to run a couple of these races with me to try to help car count, but he had things. I think he was running an asphalt league at the time, so it's glad he got out here tonight. And we'll see y'all in the winter season.
Yeah, the winter season definitely.
Oh, and congratulations to Josh Patterson on the championship. I'd have liked to run all 6 races and see if we could have beat him, but maybe we'll try in the winter series. Thank you, man.
Apologies there for cutting over you. But Jamie, of course, want to send you congratulations on the win here tonight from the dirt track at Charlotte. You've officially won 50% of the races here out of the 6 races scheduled here in 2022. So I think that's a really good note to come off of, especially going into the winter series. But Jamie, on behalf of our team here at the KBueno Racing Network, want to send you a huge congratulations on the W tonight from Concord, North Carolina, and wishing the best of luck. We'll see you hopefully soon in another WORC series moving forward.
Thank you.
So Jamie Massey, your race winner in the 896, leading a majority of the race and had a stellar battle with the driver behind him who finishes second. It's the 096 of Keith Hackney. We'll have the opportunity to talk to him as he comes home just behind his teammate, Jamie Massey, the race leader and the race winner. Keith, what a race there. I think you came out of the gate as strong as you could be, putting up the fight to Jamie Massey, and even before that, having that great fight between yourself and Josh Patterson in the first heat of the race. Just give us your thoughts after the second place and how your performance went tonight.
Yeah, man. Come out strong with qualifying. I didn't realize that some steering things reset in between the qualifying and the heat. So I went down into turn 1 and first lap of the heat. I was expecting it to not turn so quick. So that's what happened there. I got in too early, and then that just caused me and Josh to race, real good right there, real hard or whatever. I wanted that pole position, but I mean, just like Matt said, we race here a lot. So I knew if I could just get in behind him or something like that, we'd probably just pull away, which we did. But other than that, man, I felt like at times he was a little bit better than I was. I was a little bit better than he was. I mean, I was searching around, just trying to run different lines behind him. I mean, you're not going to pass someone running the same line. So, I was rubbing on him a little bit, but I mean, I wasn't going to wreck him or wreck myself. We raced together enough, and I mean, we can race like that no matter what we're in, and stuff like that. So I'm happy. I wished I could have made it, but like he said, I was running other like asphalt leagues and stuff like that. I could never make it over here, and just so happens I had an off night tonight. So he was like, "You want to come and run?" I said, "Sure, let's go." So yeah, man, we showed up and we showed out, and I'm definitely going to make plans to come back and run the winter series, and we'll try to bring some guys from the team and try to help this car count so it can be a stellar field.
Well, if there were anybody that wasn't paying attention to the entire season, they would look at you and think you're a regular in the series with how well you performed here tonight from Charlotte. But you talked about searching for lines in that back and forth battle against Jamie Massey for this race win in the feature. How was it to keep the discipline on that very outside? Because, of course, we saw a lot of guys go up there as the track changed and as it started to become more grippy, being the fastest line on the racetrack. But that outside wall was so treacherous for many in the field. But for you guys, it seemed to be a safe place to be, even if you guys brushed alongside it a couple of times. So how was it to keep the discipline on that end of the racetrack?
Well, I mean, when you run as many races as we do, and just like Massey said, like we know what this track does, and I mean, the cushion was pretty massive, considering. I mean, you can't be scared to go up there, but you also got to anticipate. You can't just turn the wheel left at the last second, or you will ride the wall. I mean, you really got to anticipate the cushion or the berm or whatever you want to call it, and stuff like that. And I was running a slight different line in 1 and 2 than Massey was. There was some moisture coming out of 2, and I would cut down off the corner, and I would seem to get a pretty good run. He was riding it all the way around. And then 3 and 4, I tried to make that top side work, and I don't know. I just couldn't. But I was getting a lot of momentum going back into 1. On that restart, one of the restarts about mid-race, I see Josh he went down to the bottom, and I was like, yeah, there's something down there. So I decided to go down there, and I got by Massey, went through a couple slide jobs, but I mean, he knows what I'm going to do, and I know what he's going to do 99.9% of the time. So it's either you park it on your teammate's nose, or you just just continue to run or do slide jobs and just let everybody catch up. So it got to the point where I didn't want to run or do slide jobs anymore, so we could just check out, and if we decided to race later on in the race, that's what we could do. So I mean, like I said, this track, it was so racy. You could run bottom, you could run middle, slider, top. It really didn't matter. You just got to know how to drive these cars on this kind of track state, and you can also learn a lot. Massey teaches me things all the time. I teach him things all the time. So that's what makes us pretty much like a dynamic duo per se, and it's just it's really fun.
So a lot of fun there at the end of the race. I got to ask one last thing before we send you off, Keith, on the second place finish. Was there a send in mind in 3 and 4 that final lap?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I kind of lost a little bit of ground right after we crossed the white flag, and I was going in there. I was going to door him up a little bit, but I mean, I made it to his left rear, but if I'm going to door him, I want to be at his door. I don't want to do it in his quarter panel. That way, I didn't want to spin him out or anything like that, but trust me, that was on my mind. He would have did the same thing to me.
Well, some clean, hard racing still between you two, and I think it brought us for a fantastic finish here from the dirt track at Charlotte. Of course, Keith, before we let you go here in the second place finish, anyone you want to thank for tonight's performance?
Yeah, man, just like him. TNL, NH Lens, Custom Cabinets by Keith, Race Page Pro, Elite Performance, KC Speedworks, Diamond Designs, Dominator Designs. And it's unbelievable what this team can do in all aspects of all kinds of different kinds of cars. So dang, that was a tongue twister, but just all kinds of cars. And we try not to be one dimensional, but street stocks is our strong point, and we're gonna keep pushing, man. And thanks for him for putting this on, and you for broadcasting it.
Well, the dynamic duo strikes here tonight from the dirt track at Charlotte. A second place finish here, Keith. Of course, on behalf of our team on the KBueno Racing Network, I want to send you congratulations on the second place turnaround here from Charlotte. And of course, we hope to see you further on. We have the Winter Series later on this year, so hopefully we get to see you there. But again, congratulations. Best of luck.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
That's Keith Hackney, the 096, who comes home short of the race lead, but still a lot of fun between the two teammates there. Massey and Hackney put on a show here from Charlotte. We will bring in our third place finisher on the podium, but of course, driver in contention for the championship, Racing Collins. First of all, I want to apologize to you, of course, because my botch call, I thought you had the title there at the start-finish line, but of course that wasn't the case. But still, I think a great rebound after what was a tough opening heat to start, and then the first start of the race. Just give us your opinion on what happened there and the whole journey through the field, as we would call it.
Yeah, I screwed up in the heat race. I've done it almost every week this season, it seems, other than I-55. So maybe I just need to stop screwing it up. But kept searching for different lanes, trying to find anything and everything, especially after seeing Josh up there battling for the heat lead. I thought I could try to do something. Unfortunately, just stuck myself in the back. Then I had to drive through the field in the feature, and there was one car who gave me a couple 2Xs there because I don't know what his deal was, but sucks. I tried to be patient, but ultimately still came home with a podium, so can't be too upset about it.
And, going into this race, 31 points below Josh Patterson in the fight for the championship. Was there anything certain in mind after Bristol Motor Speedway that you said, all right, I need to execute this, I need to do this, and I need to do that to make sure that I'm going to be a champion at the end of tonight? And just give us the thoughts about how this all set it through, and of course Josh's issues and you finishing third in the result.
Honestly, I should have executed earlier in the season. Second at Volusia, got absolutely dumped, so ended up 8th there, I think, after I drove from like 17th to 8th and the green-white checkered, trying to salvage stuff. Kokomo, I screwed that up on my own. I started dead last on the field, ended up 8th there. Probably could have done more there, but I mean, that was just me messing up, so Kokomo's all my fault. Port Royal, I got shipped out of the track when I was 4th on the final lap, and so just came in I-55. I won that, felt really good, and then went to Bristol and I got 3rd, which typically would be good, but Josh bettered me there too. And then tonight, I mean, Josh was 3rd all night. I was trying to work my way through the field. Every time I got to 4th and wanted a shot at him, just was getting run over, so kind of caught a little break with Josh walling himself, but just should have executed earlier, to be honest. I came into this race though with the mind that it's kind of like a win and in situation, and then I saw Jamie and Keith show up, and I tried, but I don't have as many laps on this game as they do, and they're really good drivers and just in general. So fortunately, that's kind of how it panned out for us tonight.
Still, nonetheless, though, Brayson, a valiant season that you can call here, in contention for the championship, running consistent for most of the season, and this third place finish here tonight, which will move into the winter series. What are the main takeaways that you have after this season overall and moving into the winter series? And of course, before we let you go, anybody you want to thank for making tonight's run and the season possible?
My takeaway, just luck sucks. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Luck sucks. So unfortunately, I caught a bad end of the deal at Volusia, caught a bad end of the deal at Port Royal. I think those are the differences. And Josh was consistent, I wasn't. So I think going into winter series, consistency is going to be key. I'm not a very good road driver, and the dirt late models are definitely one of my worst cars on this sim. So I will just try to put some laps in, try to find some consistency somewhere. Ultimately, I think the oval side's going to be where I prevail the most, but we'll see what happens in the winter series. First, I got to thank you and Willie. Both of you guys came on, broadcasted. You guys did great jobs. Appreciate you guys coming up here, and we'll see you guys for the winter series. That stuff gets announced August 1st, so if you're in the Discord, stick around. We should have our schedules planned out for all that stuff, so stay tuned for that good stuff. Got to thank Josh. Congratulations to him on the championship. Got to thank the whole WORC admin team: Josh, Ryan, Aaron, Henry, Nick. Gosh, I can't even think of who else. Paul's on the admin team. Tyson, Jay Mulder. I got to thank those guys. They did a great job this season, and they do a great job for the whole season. Excited for winter series. Got to thank EVC Automotive. Got to thank Dynamo Deisgns. Got to thank Limeade Media. Go follow them on Instagram at Limeade Media, at Limeade Film, and at Limeade Graphics. Got to thank the Keystone Corner on Twitch. Other than that, AG3 Photography. Got to thank him and Oregon Diecast. Go follow Oregon Diecast on Instagram. Thank you, Kenneth, once again for broadcasting, and we'll see you guys around.
Of course, certainly appreciate the time, Brayson. Very excited for the winter series, by the way, later this year in 2022. But of course, Brayson, on behalf of our team, KBueno Racing Network, I want to send you congratulations on the third place finish here tonight. No, it wasn't the championship, but still a season to remember and a season of redemption. I think next time around, when we get onto the dirt side, we appreciate you being around the whole season. Of course, thank you for putting everything together on the WORC side, and we'll see you in the winter series. Best of luck moving forward.
Thank you, Kenneth. We'll see you around, man.
So Brayson Collins ends up second in the championship. Still a season, though, of great finishes and great results, and it definitely shows how good Brayson is on this side of the iRacing platform. Hopefully we can see him run for a championship sooner than later, but it is our time to finally talk with our 2022 WORC Street Stock Tour champion, presented by Dynamo Deisgns, Josh Patterson in the 02, who comes home 8th tonight. You were running as high as 3rd. Josh, first of all, walk us through what happened there on that contact with the outside wall.
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I was going up there occasionally. It wasn't really working. Figured I'd set it up there a little bit. Touched the wall, and it just instantly broke off. I'm not too sure why the iRacing damage model did that, but it sucks because I felt like we were having a really solid night, and I was at least having fun. Like I wanted to. I know I had the championship pretty much locked going in, but I just wanted to make it interesting. Wanted to make it something to watch, but yes, that was a little disappointing. I feel like I definitely had the 3rd place car. So to not finish there sucks, but I came in and got done what I needed to do, even if that was how many laps down. So, I'll take it, I guess.
Still handle the business after 75 laps, and now you are officially the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Deisgns champion. We talked to you a while back after getting the title over at Homestead of Miami Speedway in the WORC Dynamo Deisgns National Series. Now how's it feel to get a championship this time around on the dirt side?
Yeah, it's cool. Actually, the series before that was the GT3 series, and I won that as well. So now I've got 3 in a row, all in completely different disciplines. So that's pretty cool. I think I pride myself on being a very well-rounded driver. So being able to, compete at a highish level on every discipline on anything I can run is, always one of my strong suits. So I'm glad I could come here and, show off that I could do something on dirt as well, even though, I feel like Jamie would have probably won the championship if he raced the whole year. But, it's the power of being consistent, I guess.
Well, technically, I mean, you said you did win the GT3 championship before that, but I think we can officially say when it comes down to work and broadcasting full seasons on the KBueno Racing Network, you are 2-0. So I think that's a really good record here, broadcasting on the KBueno Racing Network. Again, a huge accomplishment over the 6 races in this 2022 season. But now we move forward to the rest of the series that will follow. We know there's a bunch more series apart from this dirt one that we're going to have later on in 2022. That one of them being the asphalt oval scene. Dirt's going to come back. Road racing is going to come back. So off of this championship, after the celebrations, what are the thoughts about the winter series and how you feel you're going to perform and going for more championships down the line?
Honestly, I haven't thought much about performance yet in the Winter Series. Obviously, I'm looking to do well, but I am really, really excited for this upcoming Winter Series. We've got a lot of things planned as an admin team, a lot of exciting information to get out there to everybody. And I think it's going to be our best season yet. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm really looking forward to running it with all of our admins here. So, it'll be a good time. And, hopefully, if I can perform well, maybe win another championship there, go a few in a row. That was just such icing on the cake for me.
Well, it looks like you've got the Triple Crown, dirt, road, and oval. I think that's as much as you can ask for. I think we got to add a dirt road series next where you can go for the championship there as well on the WORC side. But Josh, of course, again, a huge congratulations on the 2022 WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour Championship here from the dirt track at Charlotte. But before we let you go, Josh, anyone you want to thank for making this race and this entire season possible?
I got to thank everybody at Dynamo Racing, powered by Limeade Media. Everyone who showed up from our team this year and put in some races. It was always fun racing with those guys. I got to thank Dynamo Designs, Limeade Media, Dunk Pools, Vulture Racing Engines, the Keystone Corner, Patriot Clutches, Belfort Property Restoration, EVC Automotive, and everybody else who helps me week to week to do what I do. I got to thank you and Willie for coming out and broadcasting for us this season. I got to thank Brayson for putting on the league and all the other admins for helping us through this year. And I got to thank everybody for coming out tonight and all season and giving us a good season, one to be remembered.
Well, a great season for sure on the Dirt Street Stock side, and you get to celebrate a championship here from the dirt track at Charlotte. Again, Josh, on behalf of our entire team at the KBueno Racing Network, want to send you a congratulations on the championship and the title. We'll let you enjoy it. We'll let you celebrate here from the dirt track at Charlotte, and we look forward to seeing you once we kick off the WORC Winners Series later on this year. Go enjoy the title, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kenneth. Hope to see you soon.
So it's Josh Patterson, your champion this year in the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Designs. Again, want to send an apology for the call at the finish. It was not Brayson Collins there. It was Josh Patterson. Brayson Collins, though, put up a great fight in the point standings, and hopefully we can see them two go together. They have been friends on the iRacing service. A lot of the guys in WORC are, so it is good to see that camaraderie between them and how they're able to race each other clean and run for a championship together. We saw some two friends go for 1 and 2 here tonight. You watched them on the front of your screen. Jamie Massey and Keith Hackney, both 1 and 2. Massey getting his 3rd win of the entire season. Of course, on behalf of us at the KBueno Racing Network, I want to thank you so much for watching every single race we covered. We had half of the season, and obviously we did our best to cover half of the season on the KBueno Racing Network, but it also could not be done without Willie Owens and the guys at the Woes YouTube channel. You can give them a subscribe. They'll be covering more broadcasts of other series and hopefully some more WORC races later on down the line. A huge shout out to them for all their hard work for bringing us starting off the season at Volusia and conquering basically most of the season while we had our second half and this championship finale here from the dirt track at Charlotte. So for Josh Patterson, Ryan Martin, Brayson Collins, all the owners, all the admins on behalf of the entire World Online Racing Championship WORC, for Dynamo Designs for sponsoring the WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour presented by Dynamo Designs, for Jamie Massey on winning tonight here from the dirt track at Charlotte, and from all of us here at the KBueno Racing Network, for everybody involved in our production, for Charlie Beyer, for Francisco Bacalhau, for Keelan Belsha, who had a couple of races with us up in the broadcast booth. My name is Kenneth Bueno, saying so long and good night from the dirt track at Charlotte. Congratulations to Jamie Massey on win number 3, but a big congratulations as well to Josh Patterson on the 2022 WORC Dirt Street Stock Tour Championship from Charlotte.